Hey, my name is Yolanda, and welcome to Frank Factualities, the podcast. Tune in each week as I speak frankly about life experiences from my perspective and offer you a bit of unsolicited advice. Let's take a little time to laugh, to think, and to cry as we tackle some serious topics and some not so serious topics. Be sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Welcome to Frank Factualities, the podcast. My name is Yolanda. Thank you for tuning into my show for another week and joining me for another episode, especially after I gave y'all that 15-minute one last week. I appreciate y'all. I really do. I'm doing just fine, I think. Although last week, I think it was Thursday. No, it was Friday. I had a moment at work, like teary-eye moment. I wasn't really crying, but my voice cracked a little. I was so frustrated. And I got to figure out how to regulate my emotions at the job. I think I'm just getting older and I'm at the point where I'm tired of working for other people and being told what to do. And I see why they say older people are set in their ways. As you get older, as I'm getting older, let me say, I can sense myself not giving a fuck. I feel myself feeling as though, why can't I do what I want to do? Like, why do I have to listen? So if you're younger than me and you have time to regulate, change, reframe your lifestyle, go ahead and put some money away. Go ahead and get an IRA, all those other good things make sure your 401k is stacked so that you can start working sooner than later. My father, I think, retired at like 50, 51, something like that. He was young. So ideally, when I heard that, I was just like, yeah, that's the age I want to retire. But I'm 45 right now and I'm in education, and in the education world in South Carolina, you can't retire until you put in 28 years. I'm only I think in November, we're in November now. This might be my 14th year in education. So I got a long way to go. So I don't know. I don't normally pray to God for frivolous things. Not that the lottery is frivolous, but I concentrate on stuff like my health and the health of my family and friends and close friends and in the world in general. So I try to make sure my prayers are heavy there because life is more important to me than money at this moment in my life. Because the older you get, the more you're looking at. I heard someone say that Trump wanted to create 50-year mortgages, and I'm just like, I'm 45. I'm probably not going to have 50 years. So that gets a little scary, but I'm not here to talk about those dark things. Anyway, I got to regulate my emotions because they're high, low, up, down. And yes, I think a lot of that has to do with perimenopause. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that I don't think that has a lot to do with it, because I'm pretty sure it does. And that I don't know how to regulate, but I can do things to make sure that I calm myself, be better prepared, hold my thoughts when I'm feeling anxious to say something. Write it out before I say it. And that what I mean by that is maybe writing it in email, sending it to the person with how I feel, playing it out in my head and saying it to myself before I say it out loud, and making sure I'm not high on emotion whenever I'm speaking. And I don't necessarily mean angry either. I'm just meaning high on emotion, whatever that emotion is. So that's what's going on with me. I apologize to the people in the room at the moment when I kind of had my little episode, because it's typically not like me. I do have outbursts where I'm angry, but I don't get into, I was frustrated. So that was the emotion that I was feeling. And when I responded to being questioned and talked to about something that needed to be done, I responded in that frustration. So my voice cracked. I have this vein that pops in my little neck. So the vein was popping out of my neck. I was grabbing my head in frustration, and it was just like, what is up with you, girl? My cycle was on too. So that was something else. Y'all know we hella emotional when our period is on. So my period was on as well. So all of those factors contributed to my little meltdown, but I can't say it won't happen again, but I'm going to make sure it doesn't happen at the work job. Okay. Now, let's get straight into street talk. Well, before we get into street talk, let me shout out Pompano Beach. I said every time I get on here now, I'm going to shout out a city that I see where there's a loyal listener. So shout out to Pompano Beach, Florida. You guys have been riding with me for a little minute. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for listening. Okay. Now let's get straight into street talk.
Yeah, look, yeah, what's going on? Let me know.
So the penny has officially died. I don't know if you all saw that today, but the United States penny is officially dead at 232 years old. Now, you say, Yolanda, why is that street talk? Why is it a hot topic? Because y'all got to read the room, okay? If the penny is dead, that means that everything will have to be rounded up and rounded to the what? Not to the nearest 2 cent, not to the nearest 3 cents. It's going to be rounded to the nearest nickel, which means i.e. inflation is happening, okay? Not that we already didn't know that that was a thing, but I think that these changes are subtle and people aren't really paying much attention to inflation and how things are shifting, especially somebody like me, because I'm the person that doesn't check the gas prices. So even if gas prices were up, I only notice it when I'm filling up my tank, because you don't normally see how much it costs for you to fill up your tank. And so when I'm filling it up, sometimes I'll be like, well, dang, it's at $40 or wherever I'm at the moment. That's usually when I notice it goes up. But my husband checks gas prices as he drives by the gas station. I just don't. I feel like it's one of those things that I have to get, so I'm really not paying attention to when he pays attention all the time. Something else that I noticed was the other day, I think this was last night, my son wanted McDonald's. I don't typically go to McDonald's, even though I eat out every day. I'm a vegetarian and a part-time pescatarian. I say, y'all have heard me say that before. I say part-time because who the hell can afford to eat seafood every day, especially if you're eating out? So the majority of the things that I eat are more of a vegetarian type meal. And so McDonald's has nothing on the menu for me. So I if I'm going to go for my family, I try to go somewhere that all of us can eat from. But more than likely, I end up going to two places when I'm buying stuff. So anyway, back to McDonald's. I ordered him a chicken nugget meal. And when she told me the total, she was like $8 and something. And I was like, since when the chicken nugget meal was $8? So I looked at the receipt when I got it, and sure enough, it was $8 flat. And then, of course, the taxes on that. But I remember getting a chicken nugget meal, and it was well over $10. So I mentioned it to my husband when I was talking about what I was going to talk about tonight. And he said, yeah, that happened a while ago. They realized that they, as in McDonald's, their sales were going down, and they realized, okay, well, we have to do something to pick our sales back up. And they knew that their prices had been jacked up already. So they dropped prices so that, they could pick their sales back up. So I'm hoping that everyone else gets the memo. Because I was at Popeyes the other day getting my son. He wanted to go there, a chicken tender meal. And you say, okay, what can you eat there, Yolanda? They got some popcorn shrimp. Even though it's not that great, the flavor on the batter is pretty good. But really, that's all you eat. And when I say popcorn shrimp, I don't even know shrimp in it, because I can't. It's just crunchy. But anyway, the goddamn chicken tender strip meal was $15.99. And this particular day, I didn't get the popcorn shrimp. I ordered a side of mac and cheese and some fries just for me. That's all I was going to eat. That lady said it was almost $30, whatever the total was. And I was just like, well, good Lord, what did I buy? I think I might have got a lemonade too, but either way, I didn't get a whole meal, and I spent almost $30 on just those things. And so I was just like, I'm over it. I am completely over it. I didn't even get a full meal, and I didn't even get my husband anything that night. So imagine if I got a meal for three different meals. It'll probably have been 40 something dollars, to be honest with you, almost 50 at Popeyes. You can go at a sit down restaurant for that, usually for the things that we get, and spend about $50-$60. So yeah, I'll sit down for all of that. So pay attention, guys. So the penny is dead. Not that the penny is going to be worth anything because you have them, because I have a bunch of pennies in there, but the penny is going to die. So that means everything will just be rounded up to the nearest nickel. Bad look for United States. And again, more reasons why you should pay attention to politics, even if you don't like it or understand it like me. And sometimes it's good to just know what's going on so that you can vote responsibly and have somewhat of a control on the life that you live here on this earth for our time that we are here. So moving along, let's get into what I want to talk about. So I don't know if it was yesterday. The days are running together for me. But one of them days last week, I posted on my personal page, not on my Frank Factualities. And if you follow me on Frank Factualities on Instagram in particular, or I'm going to say on all my Frank Factuality pages, I promise you when my new season comes out for Frank, I'm going to be posting more. I got to get back on that. I just haven't, I'm a creative in that everything that I post on my Frank page, I started out with quotes, and sayings, and they were all mine. Like, these are things that I came up in my head, and not to say that no one else had said them, but I feel like when you do poetry or you do quotes, it's about you trying to say the thing that everybody else has been saying, but say it in a different way, or say what you've always said 1,000 different ways. So I can't say that someone may not have already said the thing that I said, but I tried to say it in a different way. And so that's what I started at. And if I don't have that creative juice in me, meaning I don't have anything creative or poetic to say, then I don't like to say anything, and I don't like to steal other people's content. And if I do share a quote that someone else or I got from somewhere else, I usually say where I got it from. I always sign my quotes with the FF, as in Frank Factualities. And if I got it from someplace else, I usually say unknown, or I put who said it and where I got it from. But I just haven't been in a creative space. I haven't been thinking about anything. So what I'll probably post more of is definitely my little short reels of the podcast episodes, because I used to do that as well, at least once a week. I stopped with that also because I just stopped recording on my phone because I was so angry at my internet when I had my StreamYard services going. So I'm going to pick back up with those things and just try to do a little bit better, because I did like them. It was just that, it was a lot to set up and edit both of those things. And as my day got busier with work, then those things kind of fell short. And I can always be consistent with the audio because it's just the easiest to manage and edit. And I've been telling y'all about the full video YouTube thing. I really am, y'all. One of these days you can be like, she said she was going to do that. So anyway, moving right on along. Yeah, man, I done forgot what I was talking about and how did I get on that tangent? But you see, it's perimenopause. I'm gonna leave this in just so y'all know, like, I really be in a moment, and not that people don't forget their thoughts, because people do. Oh, yeah, back to it. So anyway, I posted this on my personal page. And when I saw, and I know the girl because I do follow her, but I can't tell you her name because I took this from somebody else's page who shared what she said. So just know that this is not my voice. I don't own the rights to this clip. It was a clip from Instagram, and I don't even remember the person's page that I got it from, but it wasn't their content either. So I'll just leave with that. But this is what I want to talk about, and on the lines of how I felt about it. So I'm going to play it for you all so you can hear it, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, just a second.
So if I was to ask you, who are you? What would you tell me?
A mother.
That's for somebody else. Who are you?
A child of God.
That's great. Who are you?
Nicole, I'm 42-year-old. I don't know.
Not giving me demographics. When we define ourselves, especially when you have a fixing as an identity, you know who you are for others. You do not know who you are for self. Do I even know my own interests? Do I even know my own hobbies? Give me 5 things you love about you now. Go.
About me? I have a big heart. I'm beautiful. I'm confident. I'm a caregiver.
So I wanted to talk about that because I thought it was really deep. I noticed that on people's personal Instagrams or Facebook pages, when they're doing their bio, they lead with all of those things that woman said. I am a mother, I'm a child of God, or I'm a believer, I am a wife, I'm an educator, I am a nurse, I'm a whatever. So we lead with our role with other people, we lead with our jobs. And just like that, when I start the show every day, what do I talk about, y'all? I'm like, how am I doing? I always talk about my day at work for the most part. I never say how I am, like, how am I doing mentally? How am I doing physically? How am I feeling? Just me, Yolanda, outside of the roles that I play. How am I doing today? Because I'm always worried about other people or either my job. And we typically allow our job a lot of times, more so than anything else. Our job defines who we are, and we lead with that. We lead with that when we meet people. Hey, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, because I'm a nurse. Yeah, because I work for so-and-so. Yeah, because I know, I'm a this, I'm a that. We lead with that because sometimes it's a bragging right for us. Sometimes you want to express to people that, okay, I am smart. I need you to know that I do this thing because I may present a certain way, but I need you to understand. Or either if we've gotten a title, we have our PhD or we're MD, we leave with, my name is Dr. So-and-so. You forget what your first name is because you're called by that. Just like me, anytime I go somewhere, I give them my first name now, just because I don't hear my first name a lot anymore. And I always, if they say, may I have your name? Like when you go to Chick-fil-A or you are placing an online order and you have to type in your name, or on DoorDash is my first name. When I call a restaurant for a pickup order, I give them my first name. But it's just to remind me of like who I am outside of these things. And I struggle with it too. Like I just said, I led with my job and what bothered me last week about work. And so I really want to that's one thing I do want to clear my mind of. I'm in education, but I think the false reality is that everybody in education wants to be, I'm a school counselor, but all school counselors want to become assistant principal, and all assistant principals want to become a principal, and then all principals eventually want to become a superintendent. And that's just not the case. Like, I only want to be a school counselor, and I don't even want to be a director of a counseling department because I just don't want the extra responsibilities. I think the more responsibility I get at work then takes me away from who I am. And I really want to learn myself. I want to love myself, and I want to be able to answer that question. What do you love about yourself? And I'm not going to say that I don't love myself, but that's a hard question for me. And anytime I have to answer that, or I have to do like a bio, I get my husband to write it, which is really strange, but it's one of those things that is cringy for me to be like, I'm kind, I am smart. It's the Helper movie stuff. But that's what we need. Like, we really do need to know who we are outside of the role that we play. But that's a very hard thing to do if you don't quite understand what that means, to know who you are without saying any of those things. And then the lady went into her demographics. I'm this years old. I'm this. And yeah, who cares that you're a Leo? I'm a Leo, but that's not really who you are. Again, that's something that just identifies you and a million other people. So if you're talking about just uniquely you as an individual, and when someone says who you are, they're talking about your inner sense of self that just exists solely and independently of anybody else's opinions, right? That's hard. Because people have told you you're nice. People have told you that you're kind. People have told you that you're funny. And so now you've taken on that role of, tell me about yourself. Okay, I'm funny because that's what people told you. I sing. I'm a good singer. But what do you think? All of those things, what do you think of yourself? That's hard. You got to go within. You got to listen to your intuition. You got to think about and identify your personal values. So like, I like the fact that I think for myself. My mantra or my favorite quote that I've ever heard of in this world, and I didn't come up with it. It was from a movie, and it was a basketball movie, and I can't remember what the movie was. But the quote was that great minds don't think alike. They think for themselves. And I swear to God, I love that, because I always, and I'm not going to say because someone goes right, I go left. You have people like that no matter what you say, they're going to say the opposite because they just want to be different. But that's not me. I truly believe in thinking for yourself. I don't believe with going with the norm. I don't believe with agreeing with everyone and just getting along to get along. A lot of times when I question something, when something doesn't make sense to me, I automatically question it. I like that about me because that's my intellectual curiosity. And I love that I am intellectually curious, and I don't care about it being dumb or sounding dumb. And even if I think like I should know this, I'll say maybe I should know this, but I don't. So let me ask a question. My husband was going over some music with my son because he's getting ready to try out for region band, and he may or may not make it, but the point was to get him prepared for when he is auditioning for colleges and to join a college band. So we're having him do it, and they were talking about musical notes, which I am completely illiterate with anything music, even though I'm surrounded by it in my house. So they were going over notes, and my son seemed to not quite understand some of the language that that my husband was using. However, my son's been in music since middle school, and he's in a music class now, a band class, I should say. And I asked him, I said, well, I don't want to seem crazy, but should he know these things? Because you're asking him and it doesn't sound like he knows them, but he's in class. And so what is he learning if he doesn't know these things? So my husband had to explain like, well, yeah, he's learning it, but these are some difficult things and it wouldn't be something that's in front of them on a daily basis. So they may have seen it or heard it, but it isn't something that would be consistent enough for you to have it committed to memory. So when he said that, I understood, but I was going to ask the question because it was what I was thinking at the moment. And to me, that's the only way that you grow and you become a little bit more knowledgeable is if you are a lifelong learner. And that's what I like about myself. Now, I'm saying all these things out loud, y'all, because when I first heard this clip, I felt like I couldn't answer that. And one of the things that I have said, and I mentioned it in reference to a relationship, but I feel like it works as well for just you as an individual. I would tell a woman, like, you should talk to an ex-boyfriend that you're friends with now to ask them what was wrong with you. And I don't really mean like what's wrong with you, because nothing's wrong with the person because someone didn't want to date you, but what did they think were your flaws or something that was a negative for them that made them not want to continue in a relationship with you, because they're going to highlight some things that you don't know, you didn't see, you weren't aware of. And then now you can see if this is really a thing that you do, or if this is who you are, or is something that you want to change or adjust. So I feel the same way about this type of thing, who you are. If you ask someone that knows you how they would describe you, then you would get an idea of how the world sees you, because they don't see a mirror version of you. They don't. And the best example of that I can give you is when we're taking selfies, we love them, right? This is why we put, girls in particular, we post so many selfies. But when somebody takes a random shot of us, we can't stand the picture because we feel like it don't look like me. Like, who is that person? I don't even know who that is. So you love it when you take your own selfie, but you can't stand it when somebody takes a photo of you because it doesn't look like you. And the reality is that is how the world sees you. If you may not like the image, but it's not going to be a mirror version of you, because that's not the real you in the mirror version. So the world is going to see you one way, and then you're going to see yourself a different way. And sometimes those things are aligned, but sometimes they're not. And it is important for someone else who sees you outside of the mirror, meaning anybody other than yourself, that can tell you who you are, to them at least, and as more than one person, because of course if they tell you, you hear the same thing over and over, you'll know if it's true. Now, back to what I said that I always wanted to know. The world would say, you know what your talent is when it's something that's easy for you or something that everybody calls on you to do or ask of you. So if you got somebody that's an artist in your family, then you're always calling on them for your crafty things because you know that they're very creative. So you call on them for that. If you have somebody that's good with their hands, then you're always calling them to fix things or to build something for you. So I don't have any of those type of skills. And so I always wanted to know, well, what am I good for? What do people always call me for or lean on me for? And I just felt like I didn't have any talents. And so how can I know what I'm supposed to be doing in the world that I can do every day that wouldn't bother me? And the only thing I can think of is this, talking. I can talk all day long, and I promise you it wouldn't feel like I was working. Now, listening is a whole nother thing, because I get to talk at my job, but I got to do a whole lot more listening. And sometimes I can be a little impatient with that, but I don't show it, y'all. But anyway, I realized today that when I go to work in the morning, and yes, I'm talking about work again, but I'm getting to a point. My office is always filled with people, whether that's people popping in, all kids popping in to say good morning, whether that's my coworkers just sitting in my office in the first thing in the morning before they even go to their office, or when they put their bags down, they're straight in my office. It's like people gravitate towards me. They want to be in my presence. They want to hear what I have to say. They want to hear my opinion on things. And I'm just like, okay, that's just, all right. So I'm that girl. I'm the person that you want to get their perspective on things. This is why I be telling y'all to talk to me now. Come on. And so you can get my perspective on things. But anyway, back to the regular scheduled program. That's what I'm getting. The older I'm getting, I'm realizing and recognizing that even my brother, we don't talk every day. But whenever my brother is contemplating on an issue, a situation, a decision, he always calls and he was like, let me get your take on that. He'll even come over here because he likes my husband's perspective on things as well. So he'll come and sit down and talk to the both of us because he likes to hear what we think about a thing. You know what I say about advice, it should be considered and not taken. So I don't tell people things to think that you got to do what I say do, but consider it. And think about it so that you can make the best decision for yourself. So, you do want to talk to a couple of people to get their ideas and comments and things on stuff, so you can just see, am I thinking logically or not? But learning who you are is very important. And I know I've done probably 2 or 3 episodes on who you are. So what the ham sandwich I'm gonna name this episode is beyond me. But frankly, the fact of the matter is that's something that we struggle with, the world, that is, on trying to announce or say or realize who we are to the world, how we come across. Again, not your role that you play, but just who you are in general, and what your hobbies are, what you're interested in. You would think that it's a simple question, but yeah, I would struggle with that. And then I was watching Pop the Balloon, and the man asked the woman, he said, or it was a man, and he asked the ladies, what would, if we were together, he said, I like a woman who can teach me things. So if we were together, what could you teach me? And pretty much that's like, okay, what are you good at? What's your niche? And what could I get from you? So some people said, I'm great at finance. I love to talk about stocks and bonds and IRAs. So you'll probably learn a lot about finances and balancing your budget and things like that from me. So I'm just sitting here like, what could somebody learn from me? Now that I couldn't answer, but it goes into who you are. Again, what are your interests? What are your hobbies? What do you like to do? And that's why I said I need to get away from work, not because I don't need a job, because I do, but I need to go back to me. And I think that's why I haven't finished my book either, because I'm putting everything but myself and my needs and things that fulfill me as an individual before everything else. Now, granted, we got to work for a living, but we got to live too for a living, meaning that a lot of us, if you're a woman or a man of a particular age, you got more years behind you than you do ahead of you. And with that being said, you got to make sure that you're living every year to the fullest. I always tell the kids how fast the school year goes by. And at some point, I do want to slow down, because yes, when you're working and you see these kids come in as a freshman and then all of a sudden they become a senior, you got to realize, like, 4 years just flew by. I'm not going to have 4, 8, 16. To just have 3, those 3 sets of kids just go by me like that, because I'm going to get older, and then all the stories I'm going to have are work related stories. And I don't want to tell my grandkids, well, I already got a grandchild, but her kids and other grandkids, all of these stories about what I did at work. You get what I'm saying? Because that's whack. So I want to live life. I want to have other life experiences outside of my ratchet days in my 20s, you know what I'm saying? In my teenage years. And in order to do that, I got to carve out time for myself, and I got to stop putting other things and other people ahead of my wants and needs and dreams, because life is short and we need to learn who we are. And if you're younger than me, then now is the time. I'm talking to you right now. Get out, learn yourself, be by yourself, figure out who you are, so that you could be a better version of yourself for you and for whomever else that you have in your life, and for a relationship or whatever. And if you don't quite know who you are, then you need to ask some people that are close to you to get an idea of, why am I your friend? Why do you like me? What do you like about me? If you had to describe me, how would you describe me? Who would you say I am? And maybe you're a different person to different people. I do believe that we aren't the same in our friendships as we are in relationships. I do believe that you will be a different person. I'm probably a little bit more needy in my relationships than I am I'm more needy in my romantic relationships than I am in my platonic relationships. I allow a little bit more freedom for that. I feel like people's lives are busy, and when we can connect and link, we will. Although on the other side, in my personal relationships with men, I feel as though I got to be up under your skin, or I got to hear from you every day. And if I don't, then, you're just not that into me. Like, that's how I feel. So I see it in different folds, but you can ask these different people. And if you don't currently have a boyfriend, ask that ex who you're still cool with, so that you can figure out what it is. So anyway, guys, that's what I got. My advice to you again is to learn yourself. The only way to do that is to be by yourself, to be honest with you, in deep thought meditation. And I don't mean meditation as in crisscross applesauce namaste. I mean, because meditation looks different. To me, meditation is at night when I am off my phone and I'm laying on my back, because I love laying on my back for relaxation. And then now you can just close your eyes and be in thought with yourself and still, and nothing else around you is going on. Obviously it's dark because I like sleeping in the pitch black dark. And I can truly think and clear my mind without anything. And then I can sit with myself. That's me sitting with myself and meditating and figure out who I am. Your meditation may be different. You might need to crisscross applesauce. You may need to go in your backyard on a lounge chair and sit under the trees. You might want to sit in your hammock. Whatever it is that is a meditation for you, do it, figure it out, holla back at me. And until next week, I holla y'all. Bye.